What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And somebody asked me on Twitter recently, and I wanted to answer this question here in a video. They asked me, how can a person with social anxiety do something like this?
It's good to be back. And have a horse and trolley. We're here once again.
About 10 minutes away or so from the end of the
TV show called Absolutely breathtaking.
And the answer to that is fairly simple. And in fact, I think it's personified by an old joke you may have heard about New York City. A tourist in New York stops and asks a New Yorker for directions. He walks up to the man and he says, "Hey, do you know how I could get to Carnegie Hall?" The New Yorker stops and thinks for a second and says, "Keep practicing." But that very much, I think, is the reason I'm able to handle talking to strangers or going out into the crowds these days. It's because I'm a 47-year-old man and have had a lifetime of practice. I mean, I'm also heavily medicated. I take both Tramadol and Zoloft, and both seem to help with my anxiety, social and otherwise. So, yay, medicine. But even on these latest trips, even when I'm talking to my neighbor, even when I'm just existing, I still deal with a lot of social anxiety. Want to know what that's like? It goes like this. Okay, we're doing good. We're just listening. We're listening like a normal person. Wait, no, we need to say something. Oh God, why are we saying this? What is it we're saying? He thinks we're an idiot. They think I'm an idiot. Shut up, just shut up, just shut up. You're an idiot, you're an idiot. Jesus, they think you're weird. Just nod your head, act like a person, act like a person, be a person. To this day, I still have tremendous social anxiety if I have to make a phone call, if to have a meeting, if I need to talk to somebody. That just doesn't keep me from doing it. I mean, there was a long period of time where I had such debilitating social anxiety, I refused to do those things. I refused to pay my bills. I refused to call people back. I refused to be around human beings. Fortunately, that's not where I am anymore, and again, I can do stuff like this.
Ooh, chocolate. I love chocolate.
Thank you.
Hi. Yeah. Man. Oh, hi.
And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm thinking about what a weird, sick freak I probably am and how much everybody around me hates me. That's my social anxiety. Yours might be different. That's something that's really interesting about mental illness, is that it's invisible. If somebody has a broken leg, if somebody has a gash across their face, you can clearly see that, but mental illness is all on the inside, and it's very difficult for other people to see it. Most people with mental illness still need to participate in society. They have to go to work, they have to spend time with loved ones, they have to learn to hide what they're dealing with. And in fact, most of the time when you talk about it, like I have here on this YouTube channel or with my friends, it can actually be damaging to those relationships, professional or personal. As we all know by now, back in 2018 and 2019, I was really struggling with intrusive thoughts about, deleting myself. And I spent the better part of a year entirely silent about it, telling nobody, just dealing with those feelings myself. And if you go back and look at my content in 2018, you can tell I was hiding it pretty well. By the time 2019 had rolled around, I had picked a time and I had picked a date, and I just started walking around openly telling everyone, and the amount of damage that did to my relationships, professional and otherwise, was insurmountable. I mean, that was really the beginning of the end of my being one of the #1 YouTubers on the platform. Now, thank God the people that I talked to listened and they were able to help, and they recommended that I take it to therapy, that I take it to doctors, and I work with those people. Not people who are friends who could just listen, but people who could actually prescribe me medication, prescribe me therapies, and teach me techniques that could help me deal with these things. Thankfully, I learned the very important lesson that this is best dealt with by a professional and not just somebody you know from YouTube, your fans, your friends, or your family. And because I chose to talk to those people, and because it was so stressful and difficult for them, I really wish I hadn't put that on them. I wish I had saved it for professionals, people who know how to deal with that. And if I've ever forgot to apologize to you specifically for putting you through that, if you were a fan of mine during that period of time, I've apologized to most of my friends and family for making them deal with that kind of crazy. I'm sorry you had to deal with it. You saved my life, though, and I'll always be grateful for it. But that's the thing. If you don't have access to that type of stuff, the therapy, the medication, the psychiatrist, if you don't have access to that kind of thing, we are taught by society to mask it, to hide it. They don't want to hear that in the workplace. They don't want to hear that in a professional setting. And your friends, whereas they're probably willing to help, there's only so much they can do, and it kind of just ends up being painful for everyone involved when you share it with those people sometimes. And don't get me wrong, if you're struggling right now and you need someone to talk to, turn to a friend. They'll be glad you did, I promise you. But that said, it's better to turn to a professional if you can. But it's true that people that are dealing with mental illness tend to hide that pain the same way people who deal with physical pain hide that. They don't always go around openly talking about it on YouTube like I do, or to their friends like you may. We tend to be fairly secretive people, and we are taught to mask, to look normal, to act normal, to try to be as normal as possible. I mean, if you're watching this right now, I'm willing to bet there is stuff you are dealing with that you are not talking to friends and family and coworkers about. And that probably means, statistically speaking, your friends, your family, and your coworkers are dealing with stuff that they're not talking to you about. And that's where empathy comes into play. One of the things that has really helped me deal with my social anxiety is knowing that chances are people that are around me in that crowd, in that group of people, are also dealing with some level of social anxiety, maybe even worse than I've ever had it. I learned an important lesson, that even though people on the internet like to get into other people's business, in real life, most people just want to focus on themselves. They're dealing with their own brains, their own hearts, their own bodies, and their own shit, where they don't really focus that much on you. So you don't have to be socially anxious about them because they're probably just worried about themselves. In my lifetime, I have had a handful of people point out how fat I was, or how weird my clothes were, or just the kind of person that I was, but it's pretty far and few between, and most people are pretty empathetic and kind. So I'm not going to be worried about every person when only a handful are going to be assholes. I think I'll just worry about when I meet an asshole. And thankfully, through practice, through techniques, through therapy, I've learned how to deal with assholes, which is, for the most part, just walk away. That person was miserable before you got there. They'll probably be miserable after you go. Maybe I'll just go focus on me not being miserable somewhere else. There are still some things that my social anxiety keeps me from doing, theme parks clearly not being one of them, but I still really hate going on first dates, which is okay because I really don't get very many of them. I still really can't go to bars. Even if it's a barcade, I get so anxious and so nervous, and I just want to leave immediately. And I think that's because my dad was an alcoholic. I've been around drunk people before. I've seen them get into fist fights and violence and misery, and I just don't trust a drunk person to not say or do something stupid to me. So if you're drinking, I'm probably leaving. I really don't go to other people's houses. I mean, I will on a rare occasion. I will make myself do it if it's an important situation. But 99% of the time, if I'm spending time with somebody, they have to come here. And it's because I've always been so big, I worry constantly. Will I be able to fit on their furniture? Will I break something if I sit on it? Am I going to make an ass out of myself? Do I know when to leave? Do I know what time to arrive? Am I being an idiot? I don't know. This is too much. It's just too much. If I ever walk through your front door, it's a fucking blessing that I did it. But I like to think that I've made it to Carnegie Hall. I think I've done the practice, and I think I'm able to live a fruitful and awesome life doing the things I love with the people I love. And I hope that if you're struggling with these issues, you get hope from that. I hope that you know one day you'll be able to do those things you want to do too. Now, as usual, I could be wrong. Let me know if you like this video down in the comments section below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I will speak with you again soon. And one more thing, if you are struggling, take my advice. Talk to those professionals. It's worth it.